If I had to define credit cards in one single word, it would be this: disconnection. Let me explain. Have you ever wondered why casinos do not let you gamble with cash? Why don't they just let you throw bills on the table? Why do they make you exchange your real money for colorful chips? Some people say it's for convenience, others say it's for security, but the real reason is psychological. When you gamble with chips, you don't feel like you are spending money. You feel like you are moving pieces. You feel like you are playing. The pain of paying disappears. And that exact same effect happens when you use a credit card. The plastic becomes your casino chip. The screen becomes your roulette table. The tap becomes the spin. And suddenly, spending doesn't hurt. This is where things get dangerous. Because when spending doesn't hurt, spending increases. And when spending increases without awareness, control disappears. Today, I'm going to give you 6 powerful keys to using credit cards intelligently. Not emotionally, not impulsively. Intelligently. Because credit cards are not evil, but they are dangerous in the wrong hands. And if you don't control them, they will absolutely control you. Before we get into the 6 keys, we need to talk about something bigger. Cash is disappearing. In many countries, large cash payments are restricted. High-denomination bills are being phased out. Digital payments are becoming the norm. Your phone can now pay. Your watch can pay. Your face can pay. Biometric payments are already here. Whether you like it or not, plastic and digital money are not going anywhere. So the real question is not whether you will use cards. The real question is whether you know how to use them. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Financial education around credit cards is almost non-existent. You are warned about cigarettes. You are warned about alcohol. You are warned about unhealthy food. But nobody sits you down in school and explains compound interest on credit card debt. Nobody shows you how minimum payments trap you. Nobody explains the psychology behind impulse spending. Why is that? Who benefits from that ignorance? I'll let you reflect on that. Now let's build from the ground up. There are 2 main types of cards: debit cards and credit cards. A debit card lets you spend money you already have. When your account is empty, the party is over. A credit card lets you spend money you don't yet have. It gives you a pre-approved line of credit. It feels like extra money. It looks like extra money, but it is borrowed money. And borrowed money comes with interest. Sometimes, very high interest. In some cases, outrageously high interest. Now, here's where psychology kicks in. There are 3 cognitive biases that make credit cards extremely powerful. The first is present bias. Human beings naturally prioritize immediate pleasure over future consequences. You walk into a store, you see something you like. You have 2 options: wait and save, or buy now. Waiting requires discipline. Waiting requires maturity. Buying now requires nothing but a swipe. Your brain releases dopamine when you purchase something. Shopping literally makes you feel good. Some people are addicted to that feeling. Stores are designed to amplify it. Everything pushes you to consume. And when you have a credit card in your wallet, you remove the final barrier. You remove the limitation. You remove the friction. That is present bias in action. The second bias is mental accounting. $10 is $10. In theory, but not in your mind. Money you earn through hard work feels different from money you win. A bonus feels different from your salary. A tax refund feels like free money. Credit limits feel like a gift. When a bank gives you a card with a $5,000 limit, your brain interprets it as an extension of your income. It feels like a reward. It feels like extra capacity. But it is not a bonus. It is debt waiting to happen. The third bias is loss aversion. When you pay with cash, you physically see the money leaving your hand. There is a small pain response in your brain. Researchers have measured this. Paying hurts. But paying with plastic reduces that pain. You move on, the emotional friction disappears. And when friction disappears, spending accelerates. That's the psychological battlefield. Now let's move to the real danger. Debt spirals. There are 3 stages most credit card debtors experience. Stage 1 is what I call the debt maze. This is when someone uses their credit card and pays it off every month. No interest. Everything looks fine. But they are living on advanced income. Their entire salary goes to paying last month's spending. Then they use the card again to survive the new month. They are technically not paying interest. But they are trapped in a cycle. One unexpected expense, one medical bill, one job delay, and the system collapses. Stage 2 is toxic debt. Now, they cannot pay in full. Interest kicks in, and credit card interest is expensive. Very expensive. 15%, 20%, sometimes more. The longer you stretch payments, the more interest accumulates. A $1,000 purchase can become much more. Stage 3 is the minimum payment trap. This is the most deceptive one. The bank offers you a small minimum payment, maybe $20, maybe $30. It looks manageable. It feels safe. But most of that payment goes toward interest. Very little goes toward principal. Months turn into years, years turn into decades. You keep paying. The balance barely moves. It feels like running on a treadmill. You are exhausted, but you are not progressing. That is how credit cards control people. Now, let's flip the script. Let's talk about control. Here are the 6 keys to intelligent credit card use. Key number 1. Never use a credit card for emergencies. I know that sounds controversial, but listen carefully. A credit card is not an emergency fund. Debt is not a safety net. An emergency fund is cash you already saved, 3 to 6 months of expenses. That is your buffer. Using high-interest debt in a crisis only multiplies the crisis. If you cannot afford the emergency without debt, you cannot afford the interest either. Key number 2. Understand the billing cycle like your life depends on it. Know your statement closing date. Know your due date. Track your spending weekly, not monthly. Do not wait for the statement shock. Check your balance often. Treat it like a live scoreboard. If you wouldn't ignore your bank balance, don't ignore your credit balance. Key number 3. Pay the full balance every single month, not the minimum, the full amount. If you cannot pay it in full, you are spending beyond your means. Credit card should be a payment tool, not a borrowing tool. If you want to borrow, negotiate a personal loan with lower interest. Credit card debt is one of the most expensive types of debt available. Key number 4. Separate your spending account from your savings. This is powerful. Use a dedicated account for monthly expenses. Transfer only what you can afford to spend. Link your debit or credit card to that account. When that account hits 0, spending stops. Your investments remain untouched. Your emergency fund remains safe. This creates artificial discipline, and discipline creates freedom. Key number 5. Ignore the perks trap. Insurance, discounts, they sound attractive. But here is the reality. If you ever carry a balance, those rewards are meaningless. Interest wipes them out instantly. 1 month of interest can destroy an entire year of cashback. Rewards only benefit disciplined users who never pay interest. If you're not that person yet, ignore the shiny benefits. Focus on control. Key number 6. Build identity before credit. This is deeper. If you see yourself as someone who deserves things immediately, credit cards will amplify that identity. If you see yourself as a disciplined investor, credit cards become tools. Your financial behavior flows from your identity. Ask yourself, are you the player or are you the chip? Because there is another way to look at this entire system. Instead of being the consumer trapped in debt, you can become the investor. Companies like Visa and MasterCard do not set interest rates. They facilitate transactions. They profit from volume. Every time someone swipes irresponsibly, they earn fees. You can choose to be the person paying fees or the person earning from the system. That requires education. That requires long-term thinking. But it shifts the mindset completely. Now, I want to address some common myths quickly. You need a credit card to rent a car. Not always true. Many companies accept debit cards. You just have to ask. You need a credit card for hotels. Also, not entirely true. Many hotels place temporary holds on debit cards. Policies vary, but alternatives exist. Myth 3, if you don't pay, nothing happens. That is dangerously false. Missed payments damage your credit history. Debt can be sold to collection agencies. Legal consequences can follow. Small debts can block major opportunities later. Your future mortgage, your business loan, even certain job applications. Debt is not a game. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. We are living in uncertain economic times. Businesses close. Jobs change. Inflation rises. When pressure increases, people make emotional decisions. And one of the easiest emotional decisions is swiping a credit card to buy relief. Relief from stress. Relief from comparison. Relief from boredom. But relief bought with debt is temporary. Stress returns. With interest, the intelligent use of credit cards is not about fear. It is about awareness. It is about strategy. It is about saying, I will use this tool, but I will not let this tool use me. Imagine two people. Both earn the same salary. Both have the same credit limit. One uses the card for convenience, tracks spending, pays in full, invests the rest. The other uses it to extend a lifestyle, carries balances, pays minimums. 5 years later, their financial lives look completely different. Not because of income, but because of behavior. Credit cards magnify behavior. They reward discipline. They punish impulsiveness. And here is the paradox. The bank hopes you carry a balance. They hope you pay interest. They hope you choose minimum payments. That is how they profit. Your goal is to break that expectation, to become the unprofitable client, to use their infrastructure without funding their interest machine. That requires rules. Clear rules, non-negotiable rules, for example. Never finance consumption. Never buy depreciating assets on revolving debt. Never hide purchases from yourself. Transparency is power. If you feel nervous checking your balance, that is a warning sign. If you justify purchases with phrases like, I only live once, that is a warning sign. If you rely on future income to pay for present pleasure, that is a warning sign. The intelligent path is slower, but it is stronger. And here is something important. Credit cards are not inherently bad. In fact, for disciplined users, they offer fraud protection. They offer convenience. They can help build credit history when used correctly. But discipline must come first, not after. You do not give a teenager a sports car and hope they learn control. You teach control first. Then you give access. The same applies here. If you are currently in credit card debt, do not panic, but do not ignore it either. List all balances. List all interest rates. Prioritize paying off the highest interest first. Stop using the card while paying it down. Consider negotiating lower rates. Consider consolidating with lower interest loans if it makes mathematical sense. But most importantly, change behavior. Because without behavior change, consolidation only resets the trap. This conversation is not about avoiding credit cards forever. It is about mastering them. It is about understanding the psychology behind them. It is about recognizing the casino effect. When you swipe, ask yourself, would I pay cash for this right now? If the answer is no, do not swipe. Bring the pain of paying back into the process. Acknowledge it. Respect it. Because that small discomfort protects your future. At the end of the day, money is not just math. It is emotion. It is psychology. It is identity. And credit cards sit right at the intersection of all three. So here is my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, track every single card transaction. Write it down. Look at it. Analyze patterns. Notice triggers. Are you spending more at night? Are you spending when stressed? Are you spending when bored? Awareness precedes control. And control creates freedom. Do not let a piece of plastic dictate your lifestyle. Do not let minimum payments steal your future. Do not let dopamine purchases sabotage long-term goals. Use credit cards intelligently. Use them strategically. Use them consciously. And always remember, you are either the player at the table or you are the chip being moved around. Choose wisely.